Welcome back. We are getting close to our final match for today. Now, if you want to play like the pros, here's a few tips and tricks thanks to Alienware.
Let's talk about some tips and tricks for those who have just started out in Rocket League, or for those just looking for a few ways to improve. Camera settings. Play around with the camera distance and height settings to find what's most comfortable. Increase the field of view, FOV, so that you can see more of the pitch at once. Camera shake. Get rid of it. How can you hit the ball when the world around you is shaking? Just turn it off. Ball cam. When starting, keep ball cam on. In this mode, you'll be able to see the ball regardless of which way your car is facing and make the game less confusing. Once you're ready, you can practice toggling it off to make more precise hits and dribbles. Learn how to power slide. Power sliding will help you turn much faster and land smoother. Make sure you don't hold the drift button for too long or you'll slide out of control and lose speed. Practice. Spend time using the training facility in the game. Free play will let you knock the ball around. There is plenty of focus training for flying aerials, saves and shots, and a plethora of community-made training packs are available. Most importantly, make sure you have fun, and you'll see yourself getting better in no time.
I genuinely found that really useful. Also, you have a wonderful calming voice. It was like we were about to take off. Do you know what I mean? It was like, in case of emergency.
In case of aerial.
It was so lovely, man. Hey, in our next match, let's chat about who we've got. We've got Perth Ground Zero taking on Melbourne Avant. This is going to be a huge final match, isn't it?
I think it is a really important match. These are the two rosters, I think, who are closest together. Sirix, Siki, Delusion. Very interesting enough, two very experienced players, Sirix and Siki. The player I really want to look at is Delusion. It's his first ever LAN performance. He's the new guy on the roster, and he'll make or break the team.
Okay, so you reckon Sirix is the guy to be looking for from Perth Ground Zero?
I think Delusion's the one we want to look at. Sirix, I think, will be the steady rock that we know is going to perform well.
Is there any history between these two teams?
Yeah, I mean, they've both been on the Legacy roster representing the same organisation that switched over. And most importantly, Sammy and Delusion on opposite teams played together, and Plitz and Siki used to play together. There's a lot of infield rivalries here.
Yeah, right. Interesting stuff. All right, let's have a look at Melbourne Avant and their lineup.
Melbourne Avant, I think they're a real up-and-coming. They're the sleeping giants here, as they are a team that got a lot of respect from their organisation. Melbourne Avant have picked up this draft team. Plitz has been playing, used to be PS4. Sammy and Zen, both keyboard and mouse players. Right. They're going for that interesting strategy, and they all bring a lot of individual firepower.
And they're a really dedicated team, aren't they?
Yeah, they practice together a lot, and this is maybe the difference between them and the other draft teams. They've been playing together for 6 months. They're ready to go already as a team, and they could definitely cause a big upset here in the Elite Series.
What do they need to focus on to cause that upset, in your opinion?
To me, it's about being as fast as possible and unpredictable, because that is what really messes with their opposition most of the time.
All right, I think it's time to meet our final teams for today, so please go absolutely nuts for the Perth Ground Zero! And give it up for Melbourne Avant Gaming! G'day guys, I can't lie, I feel very old right now. A lot of young talent out here. Sirix, you must be pumped for this, yeah?
Yeah, very pumped, mate.
Yeah, cool. Are you going to come out on top? You confident?
Yeah, look, it's getting pretty close to lunchtime. I'm sure everyone's really hungry, so I hope we can get a quick 3-0.
Hey. What a generous captain, focused on everyone's hunger. That's huge, man. All right, do you reckon you're going to smash him, Toe? We feeling confident,
easy.
Blitz?
Yeah, the game plan going in is just to capitalise on all their mistakes they're going to make, so easy. Easy game.
Did you say all the mistakes they're going to make?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
This, CSGO wasn't like this. You guys are just smashing each other verbally. Right. All right, this is huge. We're going to take a quick break. Before we do, let's check out some of the best goals from the UK series.
The Sal 4 points, Epsilon top of the group with 6, so it's very close because the two teams who are currently sitting bottom of the league are both on 3 points, but Epsilon are going to take the lead here. It's Faco who has the first goal of the game.
Look at that double push. One, and just follow the ball. Number two, that was absolutely perfect by Faco.
Leaving a few openings, but they're not being exploited regularly enough by Vitality. They might just put that game down to bad luck though, as there were a couple
Lucky!
Nothing lucky about that. Flarky with the dribble onto, I think it was it Freaky at the back? Just getting completely outplayed. There's no two ways about it. It's two players up now. Meister is alone at the back. Can he deal with this Vitality lineup? Not as far as Freaky, who's looking for a double. Puts it in with a little bit of style as well.
Did anyone say we want Freaky to shine? There you go. Look at that double of the backboard. Little bit of freestyle looking movements from Freaky.
Because time again is ticking away, and that backflip from Nielski is not going to help. Can he get the double touch? Bugsy, he can.
That double touch from Bugsy shows off his mechanical prowess. The pass from D7 calls Fake out off it, gets the touch onto the backboard from a pass and in.
It was a lovely bump.
A bump back for his trouble.
So hard to defend there for J-Rolls. You just had to wait and see what happened. He couldn't really attack that aggressively. He had to defend it.
Watch
That
out!
is amazing! J-Rolls from defense watches this bump play, and then when it finally does come to him, scores the best air dribble I've seen in a long time, ending with a dunk.
Come on, better kick it. Good job, team. Good job.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
Calamari.
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 Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare Iced Coffee.
My name's Plitz. I'm 21 years old and I'm currently playing for Melbourne Avant Rocket League. I started Rocket League in June of 2015, so I've been playing for quite a long time. It's pretty cool, and it's such a challenge as well in the game. Like, it takes a lot of hand-eye coordination, so it really sort of appealed to me because I'm quite a competitive person. I like to think of myself as the striker, and I usually like to sort of be that backup plan. If we start sort of losing, I'm the one that brings the team back up. The 3v3 dynamic of Rocket League is quite interesting because it requires a lot of communication, and you need to know everyone's position on the field, and it's important to get a good amount of synergy with your teammates. Otherwise, you sort of get lost on the pitch, and people don't know where each other are, and it just becomes messy. And if you have good synergy, it really shows through. It's pretty exciting. I have been to a couple of LANs in the past. It's just good to be getting back into it and competing and seeing everyone again that I know.
This is the Gfinity Australia Elite Series presented by Alienware. Before we get into the final match, Dave, I have to ask, do you have a call on who you think is going to win this?
I'm 2 for 2. I'm about to go 3 for 3. It's ground zero, taking it out, but I don't think it's going to be as comfortable as I called the last one.
You're going to make a call on the scores?
I'll go 3-1.
3-1?
3-1 ground zero.
3-1. Oh, they've heard it back there. They're upset.
I'll change it. I'll go change it. If they don't like it, 3-0.
3-0. Oh, he's gone in harder. All right, it is Perth Ground Zero and Melbourne Avant Gaming. Final match of today. Take it away, Jake and Jim. Let's get into it.
Thank you very much, Luke. That's pretty harsh, David. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that. But Perth taking on the last team of Melbourne in Avant. And I think for Ground Zero, this is a powerful roster. And although they might look to overcome Melbourne Avant Gaming, I think this could be a little bit closer than that.
Yeah, it looks like the cheese has turned a little bit sour.
Oh, it has.
And he doesn't like actually having his opinion questioned. But let's just see how that pans out because, as we know, he's our expert analyst. And our analyst yesterday, unfortunately, suffered at the fate of a 0-3 record.
That's a different story so far, 2 over 3. But this is not a good start. Okay, Ground Zero. That was an interesting way to get a goal, but Melbourne Avant.
Look at that celebration too. That's an icebreaker. Watch this.
Paul Zen. All right. But hey,
broken the ice. The goal is open.
But for Melbourne Avant, standing on the stage, a little bit nerve-wracking. And it is only game 1 of our last series of the Elite Series for the first week for Delusion. He's had some powerful plays before, and we're looking towards that team-like strategy that comes out of Perth Ground Zero.
And hopefully we will see some fantastic action from these two teams. As we said, they've talked it up big in the pre-game. They want to deliver big in this particular matchup, as we said, with now Sirix just pushing that ball away. Off to a fantastic flying start, up that 1-0, so already the pressure is relieved on them, and that is a fantastic goal. Not a lot the goalkeeper could do because there was a lot of speed on that as well.
Well, I think you're saying, is Delusion going to hit that? He goes for the bit of a fake, and Sinky goes up instead. That was a nice fake. Perth Ground Zero, 2 goals immediately within 40 seconds, and I've got to say, this is the starting you really want.
It is the start you want. And now it's all on Avant to answer back. Right now, they haven't got a goal.
How do you answer back to this right in front of net? There's confidence again for Perth Ground Zero, and this is a big clear that they can make an advantage of. Sammy back over to Zen, and then trying to make up for that other play. Sirix hits it down, but Sammy should be able to knock it there. Sammy comes in, Plitz has gone back, and rotations coming through from Ground Zero, a lot cleaner for the time being. Melbourne Avant just trying to breach that defense. Seems like it's a little bit hard for the time being. Plitz brings it to a standstill. Sammy trying to encourage the ball forward, but unfortunately, words are not enough at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage too, both teams are still in that testing phase, really just trying to sound out their opposition, see how the game styles actually match up against their own, but this team in Avant has some work to be done just yet, so there is that ball just dangerously flying around the goal area, and that could be put away. I think he was only denied by the post there at the moment, but that could have been a 2-1 scoreline. Avant need to open their account here in the Elite Series.
But they stuck themselves in front of that goal for about a minute. And they're playing with time for the Perth Ground Zero. Sirix off this left wing, Delusion waiting patiently back, and for Zen, he needs to carry this ball through. Delusion doesn't have any boost. Sirix got the demolition in front of net. Zen, does this open it up or open it up against them? It does! Delusion! A nice finisher.
And tell you what, 3-0 so far. They've really taken a sting out of Melbourne Avant in that early opening exchange. Obviously 2 minutes into the game as well, 3-0 up. They've had a very successful opening few phases here in the Gfinity Elite Series, and I mean, they might be looking to make a statement here in game one. They've come, they're ready to play. All that pre-game talk was obviously being backed up now. Yeah.
Worthwhile, I believe. Delusion swings past that ball. That's something you don't normally see. Zen's gone for the play, and the mechanical genius himself will come close. It's the top. Blitz, the shot, Xerix. A very risky save. Works out. I think for Perth Ground Zero, let's talk about confidence once again, because they're showing it. And in game one, maybe that just kicks them away.
Need to maintain the pressure here, Avant. They can't let Perth get off the hook, but they need to get that ball out of their own half first. And that wasn't quite on direction, but what it does is gives them a momentary reprieve. They need to replenish those tanks of boost. They haven't been as full as they would like, and it just allows them to get quickly onto the ball, and certainly being beaten out at the moment quite convincingly by Perth in that particular regard. But that is because, as we said, they're not quite getting the amount of boost that they need. That ball is in a dangerous area, dealt with quite nicely by Blitz, and it just sits in the midfield here at the moment. This is the first real attacking chance that Avant may just get, but there's no one really applying that pressure. They're really struggling to get into their own attacking third.
But look again, the passing play upfield, and Perth Ground Zero just looked like the better team in game one. But Zenny goes to the solo play, passes it back to Sammy, an opportunity. He swings past it. Now for Blitz, what can he get done? For Xerix, he's waiting on the wall, and the defense again. Xerix is just such a master at it. He's shown over the many years he's been in the scene, and you can see why that confidence was shown before the game. They've been a group for a while now, and in game one, they're just proving exactly why this team works.
That's right. Now, as has been spoken about too, the communication in game is quite clean, and that is a great way to put that ball in the back of the net. Xerix, once again, he's been so decisive in front of goal, and that is case in point right there. Beats out his opposition. He's got better speed on the ball, and 4-0 right now. Melbourne Avant really struggling at this point in time, but as we know, game one isn't necessarily an indicator of how the series is going to pan out.
That's right, because if you look just at game one, it would drive you bananas, and I think that for this first game, Perth Ground Zero, they've defined themselves, they've shown what they're capable of, and now it's always looking at Melbourne Avant and what they're able to bring to the game. Been some aggressive shots and some solo plays from Zen, and let's see them shore it up in the following games.
Just so you know, this isn't my only shirt, I have a whole bunch.
No, I trust that you have other shirts than just the banana one. There's the ball in front of net again. And another close call, 45 seconds left in the game. And right now, Perth Ground Zero, they have secured themselves the first game. And it's going to be a big ask for a comeback from Melbourne Avant. So we look to game two and we say, how does this change? And what more can be done? It's Delusion, stand still. That's another shot. That's another bit of aggression. And Perth Ground Zero, what more can be done from them? I don't think we need anything right now.
They don't need anything, but they're simply just going for that confidence boost right now in terms of just putting numbers on the board, putting goals in the back of the net. And you can see how turtled up Avant are. Their defence is just sitting in the goal mouth there. There's not a lot they can do at this point in time, and just moments like that allow them to get a small reprieve from the peppering that they are receiving. But if they get a goal here, it's going to be a little consequence. They've been comprehensively beaten in game one, and they never really got going.
No, they didn't. With salt on the wound now, you have to say that Melbourne Avant gaming in the second game will be able to try and match this. The first one over the side of Perth, and I say it's a long flight, but they've made this first game worth it.
They have, and obviously spent a lot of time in the air, in both in-game and out.
Yeah,
but
about an 8-hour flight, isn't it? Perth, 10?
From Sydney, I think it's about 6.
I honestly don't know. I'm
5.5 on the way back.
Sometimes I struggle with Perth, but look, about 3-4 hours. Anyway, they have proven why they deserve to be here. Game number one was exceptional. And I think now we'll be looking towards Melbourne Avant to kind of show us where their potential lies.
That's right. The answer has to come from Melbourne Avant. They can't just simply roll over here and let Ground Zero roll in with such confidence. They're playing with such confidence. They never really got going. As I said, Avant, there's no real team play just yet. The passing wasn't quite on point. We've seen other teams there. The passing play has been excellent moving through the game. So maybe it's just something that they need to work out in game one and get a feel for their opposition. But they can't leave themselves at a disadvantage just because they want to try and use that game to establish themselves. They need to answer here. They need to rise up above, obviously, everything. And look, Yummy Cheeseman wanted to see more of Delusion, and I think right now what we're seeing, I'm liking.
Yeah, Delusion stepped up in a big way in game one, and I think for the first week of the Elite Series, you need to make sure you get that win nice and early. And for the first week, I think we've had exceptional players, we've had exceptional play. Now in this very last series of the day, it's about Ground Zero defining their territory, while Melbourne Avant coming back up and showing us what they've got. some big highlights there from Plitz. He got on the attack, but I think it was Zen in the individual play that I guess I would like to see more of.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of Plitz because obviously I've seen him in the past and he's quite a dynamic player. He said he likes to be that striker. He can certainly deliver in that regard.
Yeah.
So, you know, from time to time, it can be a bit of a ballroom Plitz, but he never really got going. Unfortunately, he wasn't really enabled by his teammates. The passing play, as we said, really let him down in that regard. He wasn't really set up with those sorts of shots that he likes to get in front of goal. But, I mean, from an Avant perspective, they really need to work those little things out. There's not a lot of time in a best-of-5 series.
There really isn't. You saw that man in the back right there who was making work. It wasn't Delusion. It was a setup coming through from Siki and Sirix. Siki and Sirix, it's always about them. And Delusion puts a nail in the coffin. One of the only few players, or only, by the way, that plays on the Batmobile.
There you go.
There you go. And not just any Batmobile, the classic Batmobile.
One of my favourite cars of all time.
Yeah?
Let's be honest. When it came into the game, I was super excited because finally a car that I really liked was actually in the game. Don't get me wrong, like the DeLorean is fantastic.
Oh, it is.
But the classic Batmobile, the best.
Back to the Future with that one. For the Batmobile, it's the 86 classic, but for Delusion, he's a classic in his own right. He's the striker. He is the cement that holds this team together, and this is a newer roster that's come into the start of the year. For you, Jim Nesso, I think I'm asking you what you're looking forward to, an individual player. Is it Siki or Sirix? Because we've talked about Delusion.
I know. We've talked about Delusion.
We've been there. Talk to me about Siki and Sirix.
Look, Sirix, as we said, one of the most experienced players on the field right now in terms of what he's actually done. He hasn't quite got there in the end, unfortunately. He's sort of been that perennial top finisher, but never actually finished on top. So maybe this is a chance for him to actually cement his presence at the top, cement his presence on not just the top of the stage, but on top of the Rocket League tree here in Australia. So, I mean, from him, it's a big series because this is a proving ground for him, not just ground zero, but a proving ground.
A proving ground indeed. We are going to throw back to Luke, however, as we're running with technical difficulties. So, Luke, take it away.
Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, so look, you made a big call saying 3-0, but ground zero backing it up so far, aren't they?
I like the call. I mean, I walked off for a little bit, took a short break, and I already got...
You went to the toilet.
You meant to tell that we're on live TV.
We don't have to pretend. Everyone needs to do it. Go on, though.
No, I'm a robot. Yeah, and now I'm completely flustered, but... I spoke to Dash, manager of Avant, and he was very unhappy with that 3-0. He was adamant that they were going to win, but that was a clean display.
It was probably the most one-sided game we've seen yet today, would you say?
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest win by any team, and it didn't really feel like Ground Zero were necessarily in control the entire time. They didn't, Vant had more shots overall. They just weren't finishing it, and you can kind of see on this sort of stage, when these nerves come through, that the players in attack aren't able to finish. You see a big mistake coming out in defense.
And that's only 11 seconds in as well.
11 seconds, that was almost defining of the match. You don't expect a goal to ever happen that quickly. You normally see people playing more defensive at the start until they're ready to fire off. And it does go down to experience. Plitz is the only guy here who has been in this live environment. And you look at who he's playing with. Zen, he's a real firecracker of a player. He requires a lot of confidence. He'll go for insane things. He's not doing that here. He's not going for these crazy air dribbles or anything like that usually is his strength. Because why would you? You don't want to take those risks.
Yeah.
And Sammy, he's a newer player. He's one of the newest players here amongst all 6 teams that is on the core roster. And he kind of just wasn't fitting in. You saw, right at that start, that miss is big nerves.
But we are only one game in, so it is still anyone's match. I think it's too early to call it personally, but we'll see. We'll find out. Let's get right back into the next game. Back over to you, Jim and Jake.
Thanks very much, gents. As always, welcome back. We're about to get into that game too, and I think that the firecracker in Zen, that's what we want to see. We want to see an explosive man, as he's always played.
And just a quick note to David, don't be embarrassed by a quick oil change. We all need them from time to time.
That's right. It's all natural. Game number 2, here we go. Melbourne Avant, Perth Ground Zero with a 1-game advantage. Now for Ground Zero. Solid play already. Delusion. Wow. Right off the bat.
They are out of the gates firing. Intent has certainly been shown here. And as we said, Avant, they just need to make sure that they get those pieces of the puzzle together. They certainly got all the pieces of the puzzle. It's just about figuring it out. And best of 5 series. It is a bit more forgiving than some other formats, but it's still not a lot of time to do so. And just that proficiency in front of goal, hopefully if they can get that right, they'll be good to go.
But look how fast they're playing. Perth Ground Zero, notorious for going fast with the ball and keeping that pace up. Zen trying to match as he comes off the wall, and Blitz will just spike up the ball for Ziki now. And this will hit the backboard. No defense, a little bit slow. Sammy will manage to direct it away. But Sirix with the long pass over to Delusion. Hits the wall. He gets a third touch, and Sammy will be light on the defense, but that's enough for now to deter Perth Ground Zero.
Just for the moment, Ground Zero have to do some defending here as Sirix needed to get that touch away. He did, just in the nick of time as well, but it actually enables them through the midfield here, through Siki. The touch is fantastic, and you can just thank the Batmobile for that. Look at the way it just sat on that.
I mean, let's break this down a little. Delusion, that was a fantastic pass over to Siki. The infield, Siki lobs it in to that top 90, and Perth Ground Zero showing their proficiency at the start of the game again.
They are certainly looking the more tidier team in that particular regard, but there's still plenty of time to work themselves into this game here, Avant. They're looking for those chances, and for me, Blitz is that key player.
Yep.
But don't write off players like Sammy and Zen, as they're both quite dynamic in their own regard, but both very much in defence at the moment. They're under a wealth of pressure early on in this piece, but if they can relieve that, if they get themselves going, all they need is the confidence from one goal. That one goal can really change things, and that might have been it, bar the great work of Sirix.
Yeah, good read from Sirix. Sammy will come back in, hits it off the backboard. Blitz there for the recovery, and still good saves coming through, and you can see the defense is now off. Zen with the shot, it's long. Delusion up again for the ball. The saves are coming left, right, and centre as Perth Ground Zero now are going to have to play from this defensive side. Zen comes in, Blitz as well. Sammy brings it back to the corner, and now can we get the centre? Blitz is up for the ball, but Sirix is just reading the ball so much better.
Yeah, his anticipation levels are so much higher than the rest at the moment, but I mean, that's actually an interesting point to make too about these players. Their anticipation.
Yep.
They're not just, I guess, reacting to the ball. They're anticipating, and that's a big difference. The big difference to note there, they know exactly the trajectory of the ball and where it's going before it's even coming off the hood of some of the cars. They're working out those angles already, and that is the difference between a top player and myself.
Sirix and Siki over the left wing, and myself as well to add that. Zen right up the wall, and I think now Perth Ground Zero, they're in a good position once again. Zen has to go over the ball and leave it for Sammy. And look how quick these passes are. Perth Ground Zero, probably one of the quickest passing teams here at Gfinity. Now for Zen, the centre. Sammy won't react to the ball quite well. He'll go back around it, and Sirix just gives him time to bring it back down. Now for Perth Ground Zero, they've stacked up to the right wing. Zinky just has a left-hand shot, and it'll go wide. Sirix again will lob the ball forward, and I think for Melbourne Avant, only that one goal, it's not too intimidating for them. They're able to get some breath of fresh air. Yeah,
they're looking far more relaxed in this particular match. They're just starting to piece things together. As we said, they needed to do that. They needed to not just relieve pressure on themselves, but also build confidence as well. So important that they do that. And this match, as we said, a 1-goal deficit's not really that difficult to overcome at all. 2-goal deficits, 3-goal deficits, we've seen them all being put pressure on before.
But what about 2?
Oh, that could have been a very different story. But as we said, if Perth do manage to actually get another goal here, it puts so much pressure on Avant.
It really does. You can see it piling up right now in front of the net. Ziki almost outplays. Good defense. Sammy to the rescue as well. You got to give it to Melbourne Avant. They're reading Perth Ground Zero a lot better, and now in front of net. Sirix disables that opportunity, and Ziki just lobs it up.
Yeah, that ball doesn't hang around for too long in the goal of Perth Ground Zero. They do a great job of clearing it. Yes, they get more shots, but they clear it quite decisively afterwards as well. So there's no real trouble in the goal mouth here for Perth Ground Zero just yet. But that demolition actually leaves them short at the back for a few moments.
Still bringing up the offense, 45 seconds. In front of net where they want to be. I think Melbourne Avant have held out nicely. About 4 solid saves. The growth so far shown. The centre field pass, here comes Ziki up for the ball onto the backboard. It's defended well, but Delusion's hanging back. They're not taking risks with 30 seconds to go and only a 1-goal advantage. Now an opportunity for Melbourne Avant as the third player waiting to come up. Sammy does not commit, and it's left for Ziki as Delusion will just come head-to-head, win the challenge, and time is ticking. Zen with a light breeze as he has the second, blocked from Sirix. Again and again, Perth Ground Zero with only 5 seconds remaining. They've held out, and now I think this ball's going to hit Perth Ground Zero 2 games.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was a party destroyed in that game.
Oh, there had to be.
And unfortunately, it was Avant's party. But they looked a lot better in that matchup. I must admit, they looked a lot better in that matchup. Going forward, I'll tell you what, they actually had created a few options, but unfortunately, from their perspective, they didn't convert them.
Let me ask you something, Jim Nesso. What do we know about Game 3s here?
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. We haven't had a 3-0 yet.
No.
We've had Game 5, Game 4, but now Perth Ground Zero sitting on the edge, and they look dominant. But one goal, right? And when I say dominant, I mean they've still got the possession, they've still got control of this game, but it is slowly being stolen away by the side of Melbourne Avant.
That is definitely the case. And Melbourne Avant, obviously, running right down to the wire here. They don't want to leave themselves too little room to work with, and they need to do it in this game. Obviously, they don't have a choice. It's a 5-game series. You lose, that third game.
You've got to play the game.
It's over.
Yeah.
But in that particular regard, if Blitz can just start to convert on those shots that he's getting, he had 6 shots in that game. If he starts to convert just half of those, that's 3 goals, obviously, to Avant, and that changes the outcome of the game completely. So he's getting in the right areas. The shots are obviously hitting their target, but he just needs to sneak one past the goalkeeper.
We're going to find out if Blitz can step up and if Melbourne Avant Gaming can do exactly that. Game 3 after this very short break.
Come on, better kick. Good job, team. Good job.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
Calamari.
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 Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare iced coffee.
Hello again. Welcome back to Rocket League, brought to you by Dare Iced Coffee and Astro Headsets. If you've just joined us, where have you been? You've missed so much. We are in Game 3 of today's final matchup. That's what we're about to start anyway. That's enough from me. Perth Ground Zero and a rumble with Melbourne Avant Gaming. I want to get back into it. Jake and Jim, let's go.
Thanks very much, Luke. Let's take it away once again, because this is the match point for Perth Ground Zero and an opportunity to define themselves in the first week if they can get the first ever 3-0.
That's right. There's a lot of pressure riding on that. I mean, it really makes your statement to the rest of the league that you're here, you're ready to play, you're serious.
On the ground up as well. See, right back at you.
You can do it too.
I've learned
like
something
this.
from you. Let's get into Game 3 though, folks. Melbourne Avant, Perth Ground Zero. And they are looking down the verge, but for Melbourne Avant, it is not over yet. This is where they show their comeback and what they're worth.
You're quite grounded, Jake. I'm not going to put you into the dirt just yet, though. Either way, we can keep rolling with these as Melbourne Avant are looking to just shift the momentum in their favour. Otherwise, Perth Ground Zero are going to be the ones rolling away with this victory. And now, early pressure on, as we do see Ground Zero just put that ball in dangerous areas, and already Sicky has put pressure on, but Semi's ready for the challenge.
But if you miss a ball from Melbourne Avant, if you let Perth Ground Zero get a pass off, you can expect it will be a goal. So if the pressure is on, no mistakes, as the first shot, Ground Zero go past the goal. And Sammy now, Delusion goes through it now. This is an opportunity. Sammy's got the dribble on. Sicky's the last one there. Sammy, the first goal for Melbourne Avant.
That is an excellent dribble. Get that man a bib, because he has just put that defence to shame, and not quite quick enough on the ball there, and we finally see Avant open the account for this Game 3.
Perth had zero chance there as well. Melbourne Avant got the first one, and within a minute, we've already kicked this game off in a strong way. Demolition comes through, and you can see Zen now a bit more confidence on the field.
They're definitely playing with a lot more confidence here, and it's the change that they needed to make in this Game 3. We've never seen a Game 3, I guess, go the same way as the previous two games. It's always been that shift. These two teams are obviously, I guess, they've read the narrative, they've read the script, they see how it goes, but in terms of actually making the changes, Avant are looking good in this game.
I see Delusion could have had a chance to shoot, but he passes it to Sirix instead. Delusion, the fourth pass, the fifth pass. Getting creative as Sammy will block that one away. Saviour medal for the defender of Melbourne Avant. The dribble's coming downfield. The pop-up from Zen again. Getting ambitious from Melbourne Avant. It's that one goal lead that's giving him that confidence. But Sicky says, no, I'll take a goal myself.
And they let Sicky in. Unfortunately, Avant dropped their guard. That was just Avant gaming. But for that moment in time, it allows Perth Ground Zero to get back into things. And it's exactly what they didn't do. They've undone the hard work of the first minute, and they put themselves back on equal pegging with their opposition. And we've seen what Perth Ground Zero can do in front of goals. We know how decisive they've been. They've been given a taste here in Game 3.
So is Zen. That's a light touch. Sicky, his third save. He'll get the saviour medal. I think there's a lot to praise from both of these teams in Game 3. Melbourne Avant have switched on, and the aggression, keeping the ball down their side of the field. 3 minutes remaining, 1-1. And in Game 3, everything on the line as Perth Ground Zero managed to hold on. But the defense, it's now getting strained.
Ground Zero just looking to put some pressure here on Avant, but Sammy all over that one. Zen also just trying to push that ball forward. If you can take that ball again, be fantastic. But Blitz is just following it up nicely here in a momentary reprieve as they go and replenish their boost stocks. As we can see there, Blitz is quite low on the boost, so there's not a lot of options available for him there, and unfortunately couldn't quite get to that ball. We see he didn't have the boost to do so. It's so crucial here at this stage of the game that they manage that boost effectively.
Well, down the right wing, and as you said, I think for Blitz that would have been an opening. Opportunities arise, the pass into the mid. Again, Sirix is there, Delusion up for the ball, but the dunk's not red. Blitz blocks it away. Now off the backboard, is Sirix going to come in? The answer is yes, as he angles it down, and he gets another. The second goal for Perth Ground Zero.
And that pressure was unrelenting. You could see that they were in goal for far too long, Avant. They didn't have the boost to get there. There's not a lot they can do. The movement of them was restricted quite heavily by the fact that they just couldn't get up in the air far enough. And finally, Perth Ground Zero capitalising all that pressure they've been putting on Avant.
What a big start for Perth Ground Zero. In week number 1, if they can get a 3-0, then they put their stamp on this competition to kick things off. But it's 2 minutes left remaining, and there's only 1 goal difference. Melbourne Avant have shown they can get through once. Maybe they can get through a second time. Sammy with the pass down, and Sirix will just receive that one happily like a present. With Sirix now unopening, unwrapping, and Sicky runs there. Delusion. A great finisher from Perth.
Yeah, I think this one signalled a change of direction because the West have certainly answered the call. And Delusion there, easy for him, easy pickings in front of goal. And as a striker, you love seeing balls like that just roll onto the front of your car because you have your choice of where you can place it. It's not a lot the opposition can do. It's simply just a matter of just closing your eyes and hoping you get in front of that ball. But Perth ground zero.
Oh, no. So Perth, remember, if you miss a pass, if Melbourne Avant give them room to breathe, Perth will be there. And just like that, Delusion had so much freedom. He had the pacing as well to go with it. And Perth, they lead by 3 goals with a short amount of time to go.
And it really places a lot of importance on how they can quickly recover. It's a big ask, 3 goals in such a short amount of time. And I'll tell you what though, they're doing their best to answer here. And that ball just on the post for the moment, but...
Oh, the bump out. Sammy was in the right position, but he got bumped out by the defence from Perth Ground Zero, and now they've got to recover themselves, but they can't. Perth Ground Zero have controlled this game, controlled this series, and again with that time running out, they now set themselves up. Sicky's there. Zen moving up the field as a unit. Sammy's here too, and the counter-attack Gymnesto is right here at the doorstep.
It is right on the doorstep, and it's knocking, it's angry, but the question is, are they going to let them in?
Oh, I think not. Sicky. Nice goal. Perth look like they're ready to take out the first game 3.
And that is just unfortunate for them. They had no one home. They're in a position though, and this is what Avant are doing. They're pushing numbers forward. They're trying to get that goal. They're just trying to flood the midfield, trying to flood the forward third of the field, trying to get that goal.
Yep.
But as, I guess, unfortunate sequence of events for them, because they push so far forward trying to get that goal, they do risk going down further, and that's exactly what's happened. So at least in that instance, they're trying to go forward, but unfortunately they were punished so heavily for it. Again, it's happened. Delusion here, he's just rubbing that salt into the wounds, and we're looking close to that Brazil mark at this moment.
Well, right now, I'll let you know when it happens. If it happens, 45 seconds, I have to say for Perth, they've run away with game 3 quite obviously, but not only that, they have set the tone for the very last series, the Elite Series for the first week.
Well, they've sent out a message to all their opposition. Everybody that played today is sitting here in the crowd. They can see that the show that's being put on from Ground Zero is quite convincing in that regard. So, I mean, they're sending a message right now to the rest of the Elite Series that you need to be ready to go. You can't be like Avant, can't drop your guard, and need to be ready at all times.
What a pop-up. Delusion! Nicely done. And there is the Brazil Gymnesto. There it is.
A 7-1, and this has been the most convincing display we've seen so far in the Elite Series in Rocket League. And I tell you what, Perth, the West versus the rest, they brought the best.
They've shown that they can beat the rest with Perth Ground Zero, and 15 seconds have cemented themselves a convincing Game 3. Not only that, Gymnesto, we've got ourselves a real team to watch as they walk over Melbourne Avant in the first week.
And in this, I guess in the week's break that we have in the Elite Series here, they're going to have to take time to drink it through. They haven't quite performed at the level that they needed to. Perth Ground Zero, convincing from start to finish.
Yeah.
That is our first 3-0.
The first 3-0 of the Elite Series, our last series for Rocket League for the day. And you can see the crowd behind Perth. You know why? You know exactly why. That was a dominating performance. I'm going to call out one person in particular, right? I'm going to call out Delusion. Yummy wanted to see him step up, and there he was.
There you go. And I mean, obviously he was operating under no illusion.
Yeah.
But he was an outlier here. This was his first performance in this environment, first performance on land for that matter, and he certainly stepped up and delivered. So in that regard, congratulations to him. Obviously proving quite a few doubters wrong in that instance. But I mean, Avant, for me, a little bit disappointing. They had a lot of firepower on that team. They didn't quite deliver. They didn't quite piece it together in the way that they needed to. So for them, a lot to work on. But I'm really impressed with what I saw from Ground Zero.
I think the worst part is that Yummy was right, and now Luke's going to have to deal with that. So thank you again. We're going to throw it back to the desk for this revelation.
He does look very smug right now, guys. I won't lie. You did call it, Dave. You absolutely called it. 3-0 as well.
I think, does anything really need to be said? I mean, of course it was going to be correct. I did need a little bit of help from the Ground Zero guys, so thanks to them.
Are you claiming the win right now?
No,
Look at this guy.
They helped me change my prediction. I was going to be
okay.
wrong, you
All
know.
right, cool.
Luckily, they helped me out.
But it was amazing play from them, wasn't it? I mean, and really in that last sort of 30 seconds, minute, they were just showing off. Their skills are phenomenal.
I think Game 3 is such an important game. We were talking at the start, Delusion could have gone either way, been a real nervous wreck or been a big player. And in the first couple of games, he was very shaky. He didn't have the performance. In Game 3, he got 4 goals. He took a record now for the Gfinity AU series. I mean, it is the first day, but he had probably the goal of the day. He had the most goals of the day in one game. And going into future weeks, that is the confidence booster that you can really use.
Huge stuff. All right, let's check in right now with Sirix. He's got to be feeling happy. Hey, Ash?
Oh, yes, he's definitely happy. Definitely happy with that win. Cheeseman did say 3-1. You seemed pretty disappointed with that, and you were like, come on, 3-0, and you delivered. Do you have anything to say to the Cheeseman?
Well, yeah, I did say Freo yummy, so do you not trust me?
I don't know. Well, he changed it, so he must have trusted you in some way. Okay. So what was the game plan going in?
Well, me and Siki have land experience already, and Delusion doesn't, so we just came in kind of like, let's just have fun. Well, not like we still want to win, but we just wanted to do a good performance kind of thing.
Well, you definitely did. You secured your first win. How are you going to keep those wins coming?
Practice, really. Just when we get home, watch over the VODs and just focus on the next opponent.
Awesome. I know you're quite hungry, so I'll let you go. And back to you, Luke.
Yeah, it is lunchtime very soon. Hey, let's get into analysis. Let's have a look at when this game was won and lost. Let's check it out, Dave.
Sirix was very hungry for this match, as well as hungry for some meals. And you could tell on the pitch, very solid. And you compare that. Look at those misses coming out. It was in the first 10 seconds, and that is when you can be the most nervous. You'd really tell. But Sirix was that rock throughout this entire series, working together. Siki had some really great striking. That one a big proving point for him. But Siki got these angles all series, past the defenders, once again on the backboard, past the defenders. He was breaking the defense each time.
And it's got to be hard to come back from there at that point in the first game, hey? 3-0.
Once you lose that 3-0, it's really heartbreaking. But you have to give it to Avant. They managed their game 2. They took a goal lead. They tried their best. It was just holding on, and Ground Zero are a team in the past who have been very experienced at holding on to a lead. They can really choke you out of the attack. And then game 3.
I think we're still in game 2 now. Oh, I think we are. This is where...
Yeah, this is game 2 where Sammy actually...
Oh, no, sorry, game 3 now. Game 3,
Sammy, game 3, they got the lead right at the start, and it was a big sign for them.
Which is huge.
Sammy as well, with that dribble, that takes a lot of confidence to go forward, a big change up. But those are the angles from Siki.
Yeah.
Getting that first goal for them opened the floodgates. They just scored time and time again, all off this. And I think Delusion here may not have played well all series, but when it came to this moment, I think with Sirix backing him up, with Sirix helping them get that lead at the start, he was then free to have a field day.
Well, this is where it gets crazy right now. We just start to see some amazing ball skill here.
And Sirix, again, so involved in that play. Siki just trying to be a nuisance. Delusion getting that goal is a bit of a freebie that started it for him. And then we kind of have, after this goal, perhaps the goal of the day.
Yeah.
A fantastic double touch, but it was also a pass, and that was crucial for them. They were passing all throughout the entire series, making sure that they were working together, and they are the only team really here, not a draft team, that are bringing their core 3, the most established team. They've been together now for 6 months. Another confidence booster for Delusion.
And I think this last goal is the one you're talking about, isn't it? We're about to see,
Surely this last goal. This is it. Sirix, a brilliant flick up, followed by a perfect double.
Amazing.
It's so hard to execute. And he gets it. The one chance that he has, it's off a team play, and brilliant from Delusion, just coming in for his first land.
Really an amazing match for us to finish on here today. Now we need to find out who your Astro MVP for this match is. What's your pick, David?
We talked about Delusion in that last match, but it was all Sirix. Not only was he leading on that pitch, he was incredibly solid all game, but when it
outside of the game is where I really saw a lot of effect. You could see he was calm, he was hyped. You don't normally see Sirix be the guy yelling out, no, 3-0, being that guy. He was helping out his team mentally, and it's such a crucial part of this game.
Amazing stuff. What a day of Rocket League. We're going to be back in just a sec to wrap it up. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you then.